So before we get into this video, I just really want to iterate that every man is different in his priorities of preferences when it comes to a woman that he wants to choose. I'm not saying that the things I'm about to go through are the golden rule for every single man. However, as a man, and maybe one of the few men who's not afraid to actually just speak the truth, while different men may have different preferences, I guarantee you that all men appreciate the things that I'm about to go through as girlfriend material. So the first thing on this list is showing gratitude and appreciation. Men want to do things for the women they care about. They want to do things that serve her experience and her life and her needs. But the appreciation that he gets from her is a huge part of the desire of him wanting to do that for her. There's nothing more unattractive than someone who feels entitled to the services and favors that you want to do for them, especially when you're dating. And the thing is, it's a brain hack because he does things for you. You show appreciation for those things, and that makes him want to do more things for you, because ultimately he wants to do things that make you smile, that lift your spirit, that lift your energy. But if he does something for you and you're just like, oh yeah, nice, cool, he just goes, okay, well, me putting an effort in this area doesn't actually lift that energy, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to try and find something else. Honestly, just think of a man as like a dog. So if a dog does something good for you and you give him a treat, he's going to do more of that. But if he does something good for you and you don't give him a treat, then he's just going to think, okay, this doesn't work in getting treats, so I'm either going to try something else or I'm going to stop trying. So when a man does something and you show appreciation by giving him a kiss, maybe you biting his lip, or just letting him know that you know it really turns you on when he does something to serve the relationship. Honestly, just think of us guys as happy dogs that need to be guided. Simple, but effective. The next quality that guys see as girlfriend material is being sexually selective. Now, there's always some contention with this point because this often leads into a conversation about body count. You know, what is her body count? Does her body count matter? How much is too much? Why do guys still care about a woman's sexual body count? Well, the truth is, the more sexually selective someone is, the lower body count they are more likely to have. And the higher number of sexual partners someone has, then it comes across that they're not as sexually selective. And there's no right or wrong about it, but it says something about our relationship to sex, guys included. It's true that guys find people who are more sexually selective more girlfriend material. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't me saying that you need to discuss it or be ashamed by it by any means. Some men care a lot, some men don't care that much. But a woman who appears sexually selective is important to men for a woman he's going to take seriously. Why is this? Because ultimately, this is about trust. A relationship goes through good times and bad times. He doesn't want that if you guys are going through a rough patch, you go out with your girlfriend friends for the weekend. In a man's mind, he believes something is likely to happen should you have an experience of being quite sexually casual in the past, especially heavily so. Now, I get what you're thinking. Okay, well, just because I may have done that before doesn't mean I'm going to do that when I'm in a relationship. And I hear you completely. But think of it this way. If he knows that you're the kind of girl who doesn't sleep with a guy on the first night you've met them or quite quickly, that you're the kind of woman that it takes a level of investment before you share your body with someone, then he is much more likely to have trust and faith in the rough patches that you will inevitably go through within the relationship. He trusts that you couldn't betray him easily because ultimately a man's worst nightmare is to marry a woman, invest in her long-term, have kids with her, and then find out that the kids aren't his. And this happens way more often than people actually let on. So if you think of guys as animals who want to ensure paternity, ensure that they are the father of their supposed children, and part of doing that is choosing a woman who at least presents themselves to be sexually selective because it minimizes the risk of that happening. So here's the thing. Even if you look at your sexual history and you're like, okay, maybe I've not been as sexually selective as I could have been, you don't need to disclose this to him. You don't need to present it to him. Express that at least most of the guys you've chosen to share your body with are guys that you cared about, guys who had a level of investment in you. I'm not saying that you should lie. Express that at least most of the guys that you have chosen to share your body with were guys that you cared about, guys who had a level of investment in you. Now, I'm not saying you should lie. I'm just saying that you should present in this way. Catch my drift. The next quality that is definitely girlfriend material is a girl who doesn't post half-naked thirst traps online. The way this comes across to a lot of men when a woman does this is that it just makes it look like she is looking for constant validation. And the thing is, a man knows that him as one singular man, he can never match the level of validation that a woman will get the same way 2,000 other guys will by liking her photos or commenting on her pictures. So that makes him think, okay, I will never be enough to satisfy this woman in the amount of attention that she needs to feel good about herself. Which means if you've gone into a relationship with her, she would still be seeking the validation and attention from other parties, regardless if she's interested in those men or not. Hey, you know me, I always want to give great value. And so as a thank you for watching this episode, I want to give you the secret sauce that makes a man want to desperately commit to a woman. It's not great sex, and it's not how hot you are. It's the value you bring outside of the bedroom, which is why I'm giving you my guide, the 5 feminine ways to add value to a man's life that makes you irreplaceable to him. Absolutely free. Just click the link below and it's yours. Now back to the video. And if you think about it this way, would you really want to choose someone who is opening themselves up for further engagement from random strangers who were trying to sexually take that person away from you? I mean, how do you feel, right? If you're a monogamous man, right, was at a very high-end club where he's spending a bunch of money, he's buying everyone drinks, and the girls want to come into his table and he's like, yeah, I'll buy everyone drinks. When you know that a few of those girls are probably going to try and snag him for themselves. Now, there's nothing wrong with being open to talking to strangers, but this is something that guys think about. And another part of this, as to avoid the thirst trap photos, is going to be very important to a guy if he has a level of a public profile. If he has a public profile to some degree, then respectability and image is going to be very important. We live in a visual image economy. And the truth is, men adore women who reserve her body and sexuality for him and him alone. It's what many men value in a long-term partner. Like, think of it this way. If he's taking you seriously, it means that he is potentially considering you to be the mother of his children, in which of course you have hand and significant influence in raising said children. And the way a man sees it is the kind of daughter that he hopes to raise is going to be reflected in the woman that he chooses. Men who don't want their daughters to be strippers, don't marry strippers. Men who don't want their daughters to become porn stars, don't marry porn stars. So men who don't want their daughters to be advertising themselves in sexually explicit ways online for the world to see are not going to choose women who do that. Now, don't get me wrong, he'll have sex and have fun with those kinds of girls that do that, but the likelihood of him taking any of them seriously is very low. And to be fair, this isn't all men that are like this. Some guys really don't care and in fact celebrate his women posting sexual photos online. But the reality is, the guys who don't really care that much, those usually aren't the guys that women are wanting to choose. This next quality that guys definitely find long-term material in a girl is that she doesn't air the business of guys online. Men aren't perfect, right? You're gonna have experiences with some bad guys, with some bad boys, some guys who didn't treat you right, some guys who weren't honest with you. That's gonna happen. It's gonna be part of your journey if it isn't already. But if you're putting an air in the business of guys online, one, it doesn't look classy if a woman's constantly posting online about her bad experiences with guys that she's dated. To be honest, it just looks like she really picks badly when it comes to men, because not every woman has these issues. There's some women who love the men that they choose and they get into great relationships with them. And the second reason is that it makes it look like he can't trust to share things with you. We hear all the time women wanting guys to open up and share things about themselves so they can, connect on a deeper level, so she can feel some level of emotional security with him. But then if a woman is posting an area of guy's business online because she's annoyed or angry at guys that she's had experiences with, how can future guys who see that trust that she's not going to do the same to him if she's annoyed at him at some point as well? It'll be much harder for him to have an emotional connection with you because he feels like he can't truly open up to you and be completely vulnerable. And that doesn't help anyone, because relationships do go up and down. You go through good times and rough patches, right? And the test of someone's character isn't when things are going really well. The test of someone's character is when things are not going well. That's when a true person's colors come out. And a girl that is girlfriend material can handle difficult moments with dignity, with integrity, with class, and more importantly, still chooses to protect the relationship as he should be doing that for her. This next thing that is definitely girlfriend material that guys absolutely love is being a place of peace for him, which means choose your battles. No one is perfect, and a relationship by definition comes with compromises. People often wonder, how did our grandparents' generation manage to stay married for 50, 60 years? The big reason of this is because they knew when to let the small things go. Things that aren't important, we have to be able to let go, and it's so important if we want to succeed in our relationships. Because believe it or not, and I'll be honest with you, most men let a lot of things go in a relationship just to keep the peace. Honestly, sometimes too much when they should really say something. Of course, when it's something really significant that really affects deep inside of you to the core, of course, communicate that with your fella and talk to him and work through it, build understanding. But when it's something small, that's not that significant, we have to exercise that muscle in the art of letting go. Because the thing is, he's not always going to get everything right. You're not always going to get everything right. So it's important that we know how to let this stuff go and prioritize things so it doesn't chip away in our relationship. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't the same as holding it in, because what holding it in looks like is when you have an argument and then you bring up something that happened 6 months ago. And he's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, why are we talking about that? Like, where did that come from? So just know how to let go. And how you know whether you've let something go or not is when you think about it. Whatever issue it is, does it still emotionally trigger you? Does it still give rise to certain emotions and feelings? And if it does, then you haven't let it go yet. And if there's something that you feel isn't that significant, but you still want to say something, here's what you can say. Look, this particular issue or this thing that happened really bothered me, but I'm letting it go. Let's not ever talk about it again. There. You said your piece, he's got the point, and not only will he really appreciate that, but he's going to have massive respect for you for doing that. Well, thanks for tuning in. And if you're ready to take your love life to the next level, then be sure to join the Kit Angels community in the link below. Let's stay connected. See you next time.